Master of Silver, and welcome to a breakdown. Now, I don't know when this is actually going to be posted. Suffice to say, actually, right now I can show you I'm uploading my final video from the exam break. So, yeah, those are going well. But I wanted to get this out of the way while the information was still fresh in my head, so I could give you guys the most accurate depiction and image and break down everything that I want to do in my most recent performance. In case you're new to the channel, I'm an actor, so I do performances mainly for school right now, and then I post them and then I break them down just to give you insight onto the methodology and whatnot that I perform things. So yeah, it was uploaded 5 hours ago. I've already watched it just to make sure the quality was good. And yeah, it's my Songologue. It's called Children of the Machine. So, as of recording this, is my most recent video. Anyway, let's get started. Why are you muted? Also, shut up. Also, quality. Also, back. Once again, shout out to Ciera. I link her in every video. She created this intro, so it's great. Alright, so I'm going to stop it right away. Because I want to talk about my process going through the... So basically, the background to this performance. Just to give you an idea. We just started drama on Friday. So Friday, February 3rd. And they immediately assigned us, our teacher immediately assigned us a performance to do. It's very simple. It was a song-log. Different from the song-log I did before, where I was the bartender. The thing about this one is that we couldn't add any dialogue. We were just rehearsing the lines from a chosen song, a song of our choice, in a different manner than how it's spoken in the song. So like if the song is very optimistic, maybe we become pessimists or something. It has to make sense, but it has to be different from the song. So that's why I called it Children of the Machine, because the song I chose, in case you're unaware of the lyrics in this video that I'm using, it is the song Children of the Machine by CG5 and DA Games. It's about Bendy and the Dark Revival. It's actually a pretty recent song that I've heard. I'll link it in the description below for you guys. But yeah, I was looking through songs. It wasn't my first choice. It wasn't my last one either. I had Eyeless Arts recommend me, fuck, what was the DA Games song called? Build Our Machine. Fuck, I love that song and I somehow forgot it. And it's a very similar thing to this, but I felt like this one was less repetitive between the two. There's also, I looked through Stipendium songs. I couldn't think of any. I might have done Patiently from CG5, but I didn't know it that well. And there was a couple other choices too. There was Run by Our Lady Peace. Basically, a song we had to choose had to be 3 minutes, or give or take, in length. And then our performance had to be 3 minutes from that. And mine is nearly 4, but that's also including the outro and the intro. So, I don't know. But suffice to say, I eventually settled on Children of the Machine, and immediately when I was reading it, because my goal is to build on characters I've already made, I decided to make this guy a ritualist, because the song repeats enough to the point where it sounds cultish, and the lyrics themselves sound very cultish, but the actual song is not very cultish. It's kind of more about resilience and optimism in a dystopian universe. And I don't know if I mentioned this already, but the Children of the Machine is the first song and only song in history so far to make me cry, which is just, it's crazy. But nevertheless, to break down the costume, that they've been given an insight into how the performance was made. And I'll list any more songs I had when I'm thinking about it. Oh yeah, Mac Militant by WWE, and I believe Jim Johnston, but I could be wrong. But yeah, Mac Militant was another one that I was gonna do. Smoking Mirrors was brought up as an option by Smoking Mirrors by WWE and someone else, I forget who. But version 2, I should say. And yeah, so basically, in terms of expanding characters, this is actually a reference to Dolor.
Their understanding. The only way to rid grief is to exact it back at those who have wronged you.
Which is the ritual, which is the performance I never got to show you. I do have a video in my drama playlist. I'm also linking that in the description below. It has a video where I break down the character of Dolor and I show you pictures of it and whatnot, so you can go check that out. And like I've established in many videos, I don't have the clips from the ritual, so you can't really know that. But this guy is an expansion of that, because this is not Dolor. This priest is a worshiper of Dolor, someone who's caught word of Dolor, wasn't part of the initial rituals and whatnot, but believes in him and spreads his word. It's kind of like, well, I guess Caitlin's character, the voice, was the right hand of Dolor. So I guess he's kind of like, he's under her. He's the step under. You got Dolor, you got the voice, and then you got the priest. So the priest, he's got his book here, which I actually have. I forgot to prepare it. Oh god. But yeah, so it's a book I got from Stratford. So it's got gold outlining on the pages, but it's just a regular book inside, and it's got a very nice outline. So I thought of this book immediately. It's like, oh, I can use this as a Bible. So that's what I'm holding in my sleeve there. But otherwise, my hair is kind of like this. Like, this was just a couple days ago, so my hair is still kind of like that until I shower it. I'm wearing face paint, as you'll see later. So basically, Dolor, if you watch the video, and again, Dolor's face paint was done by Brie, this is done just by me. Dolor was inspired, his face paint and whatnot, well, it's marks on him, but in reality it's face paint. They were inspired by the Nightmare On, so it kind of goes down in streaks like that. So the intention behind this is that he's half doing that because he's not Dolor. And that's the point of especially the makeup. He knows he's not Dolor, and that's the point. But he is a respected person in a position of power in the hierarchy of like Dolor's worshippers. So it's recognized that he is very close to Dolor, but he's not Dolor. So he has half the face painted, which is a very neat thing in my opinion. I spent a lot of time thinking about the character design. But otherwise, it's just a black button-up shirt that I just wore. This jacket, in case you don't recognize it, is actually from my Scarecrow costume, so that's making another return. These pants are not SJC pants; they're actually dress pants that my parents bought me, and that's pretty cool. And then these shoes were like a last-minute grab because I forgot to think about shoes before I did it. I have an eye ring on my finger, which I could grab. I don't feel like grabbing, but it's there. And then my hands are taped up. One of the hands, the hand with the eye ring, the eye ring is on the middle finger. This is my right hand, by the way. So the eye ring is on the middle finger. This finger is taped individually in red electrical tape, and then these two fingers are taped together. And on the opposite hand, these two fingers are taped together. This finger is taped by itself. This finger is not taped. So that just goes, like, it's opposites, but it worked. And then the other important thing is the collar. The collar I spent a lot of time on, and I have the collars with me. They're both right here. So this was the first collar I made. I made another one, but I threw that one out. This was the first actual collar I was going to use. It's the only one I drew an eye on, and it's on a pizza board. That's the thing. It's like on a cardboard from a pizza box, with a piece of printer paper on top of it, with an eye marking drawn on it to represent that he worships the Lord. It's supposed to be like the Eye of the Grieving, because we weren't allowed to have a set. That was the thing. Even though some people did have a set, we weren't allowed to have sets. It was just the shadow screen. So I made the most of what I could. So that's version 1. But this is the actual one I ended up using. So it's actually colored in Sharpie, the actual cardboard. You can see the holes in it from the tacks, because later on, if I can show you it, there's actually tacks with nothing covering it. So it was just pointed directly at my neck. But there's tacks holding the cardboard in, and so you can just see the holes from all the times I poked in the tacks. But yeah, this one is, again, just a piece of paper on a cardboard box. And it's just a thicker version of the eye, and this is the official one that I wore. So, anyway, I apologize I've been rambling for nearly 10 minutes. We can finally get on.
I'll show you. I will show you your hopes.
Okay, so sorry. One other thing I forgot to mention with the face paint. So there's, if you can notice it, it's kind of blocked by the hair, but there's a mark going down. That's to show that there's like still a power higher than him. Like he's a respected position of Delore, but there is still more above him, and that's what's kind of respected. It's both a an admiration of respect to the voice and also admiration of respect to Delore. Like he knows he's in a position of power close to Delore, but he is not Delore, and that mark proves it, that there's higher than that. So I guess and you can see the thing more clearly. Obviously, it's not the most clear. I don't know what it was, both on like the actual drama camera and also my camera. For some reason, everything was really, the quality kind of, it was weird. I'm gonna have to start recording my performances in 4K, and I probably will. But yeah, I just thought I'd bring that up. That's it's very symbolic, the face paint. Anyway.
Thus, a pencil and a dream, created for entertainment.
Sorry, once again, you can see the shadows, so you can see the tacks. I just grabbed tacks, poked them in, made sure it held the collar, and then they were just resting there, nearly jabbing at my neck. So
He lives on through us, born from darkness, born from lust. Because when we reach the end, we'll do it all over again.
So, what that first part represents, and there's the tacks even more clearly. If you notice, just by that part alone, but it also transpires to the rest of the performance. I wanted to keep my eyes open as much as possible. Like I didn't want to blink because when I was Delore, I had a death stare pretty much the entire time, and I wanted to kind of show that here, that he's very similar. He's very inspired by him. He is a 100% worshiper, would do anything for him. Like, he believes completely. So it's kind of like a parallel, you know. I wanted to show just how close he was without being too close, because the point, I didn't initially want to make him loud. I didn't initially want to make him yelling all the time, but I felt like I'd be monotone if I didn't. The main point I was trying to hammer home is that he's very similar but very different. While Delore was very loud, he was very preaching and whatnot, and very aggressive in what he said. He takes on a different approach. He's still preaching and whatnot, but he's a lot more calm. I wanted to say what I was going for was that he's a lot more calm. He's a lot more menacing. You know, he takes his time on words, and he still death stares at one, but he's not like, you know, rageful, like shaky, just explosiveness. He's fluid, for lack of a better term, just a slow, methodical pace with him. And that's the contrast between him and Delore. And that's the thing. But it's also because he's a priest, but still. Anyway. Oh, yes, I also, sorry. I also wanted to point out that the reason I close my eyes when I'm reading the book is not because he's blind or he can read Braille. The idea behind it that I didn't really get to convey, but it's a small little thing, is that the people who really believe in Delore, it's kind of believed, it's like a myth, that they can read the text without having to see it. So if you're a true follower of him, and if you're in a higher position of power like the priest, where you're preaching his word, you are able to understand the text without seeing it. So only true followers can truly see the text, is basically what I'm saying.
It's a cordless job when your heart is running.
Oh, and one more thing. Sorry, I apologize. I mean, you've probably clicked away from this video if you're tired of me talking. But I already forgot a line. I didn't even catch it here, hence why you don't see me like, oh shit, or anything like that. Like, the reason I didn't react to it is because I didn't even catch it. I only caught it when I was watching the video back. Because the initial thing goes, he lives on through us, born from darkness, born from lust, because when we reach the end, we'll do it all over again. Follow me, we're children of the machine, barely human in a city built on broken needs. Follow me, we're children of the machine, barely human in a city built on broken needs. And I completely skipped that part and just went to DA Games' portion of the song. So I kind of fucked that up, but I didn't realize till after. So yeah, there's that.
Empty at the seams. And after he's done spilling the bottles, singing on a desperate pencil and dream.
Okay, so that one there, I did want to point to someone because that one line is kind of like an awkward one to do in my context. So the plan was always to point at a random member in the audience and be like, oh, him spilling the bottles, you know, like a drunk or something. I guess kind of like Bree's character in The Ritual. It was intended, or at least implied, that I'm kind of talking about someone going through grief. You know, in that portion of it. Like, it's a chorus job when your heart's running empty at the seams. But after he's done spilling the bottles, singing on a desperate pencil and dream, that section's kind of more... What I try to get across and, like, manipulate a little bit is that it's referencing, like, a civilian in grief, and then the rest of it is kind of... it goes and talks about Dolor briefly for, like, the next 2 lines, and then it goes to talking about worshiping him. So I don't know, it's a weird dynamic, and I didn't really get across. But I'm pointing at a guy named Noah, who you actually haven't seen in a performance. He's a grade 11, so I doubt you will. Like the grade under me, I mean. But he went before me, and his thing was about, like... I think it was depression? Not like depression, nothing serious. But yeah, he was just talking about a bunch of stuff, stupid people and whatnot. I don't know. I'm not going to summarize performance. I can't do it justice. But basically, I saw that, and so I figured, yeah, I'll point at him. That makes sense. And so I did, and yeah.
The void was full when you lived, to the empty end that we could see. To the beat of the clock, we'll turn the levels to fuel the captive from burning.
Yeah, so that's Noah, by the way. Just so you know. You can't really see him well, and not that important, but that's Noah.
And to create this finest design, you'll need a magic darker than mine. And a kiss from the angels casting demons to bat all night. So wonderful how deep the love can flow. Because when you came into my life, I couldn't bear to let go. But the character came first.
Yeah, okay, so what you're seeing here, I mean, it's a very blurry shot that I just paused on, because this is kind of when the quality really dropped. Basically, to break that down, what I was talking about before, where it kind of like goes from a civilian to the god to worshipping. So like that whole section that I already mentioned, that was about a civilian. And then the void is full when you lived. That is more talking about God. And then the rest of it is kind of more so about worshipping him. So there's that. But also, I always intended to have people worship the book with me, to worship the Lord by putting their hands on the book. That was always a plan of mine. Initially, it was just going to be one person. And then I was going to go and give it to another person. And then I changed it to doing one person, and then I'd bring in 2 people. And then I had a thought of putting 3 people's hands on it at a time. But in the end, I just left it at doing it all at once. And I was also initially going to do it when I said the next part after this, which is Weird Children of the Machine, Barely Human, City Above Broken Needs, because that happens again. And I say it twice. So I was going to do it then, and that's going to be the chance of it to make it not as awkward. But I actually decided, like, in that moment to do it earlier, so that's where we do it here. Because I think, I could be wrong about this, but I think in, like, a moment I forgot that was the next line. Like, the line I'm about to preach, I think I forgot that was the next line, and only when I was setting people's hands down on the book, I was like, oh, fuck, I forgot that line. Guess I'll have to do it here. So that might be why I did it earlier, but I don't know. Well... Okay, so basically, her name is not important. Not that she's not an important person, everyone's important, but in the context of the performance, she's not important. He is also not important, but I love his reaction to this. Michaela, who you've seen in a couple of my performances, depending on which ones you've watched. And Riley, here, actually, well, my co-star in I Chorus, which you can't watch, but also was a fun fact, she was in my Ritual performance. she was one of the members in the ritual performance. So it was a very beautiful thing. And also, when I said drama cam at the beginning, just in case you were confused, I'm talking about this. The teacher selects someone to record the performance for her so she can put it on Instagram and whatnot. So yeah, watching that back, even the photos that came from that were very bad. But yeah, she was part of the initial cultist performance, the ritual back in grade 10. So now us being in grade 12, it was kind of neat that it just so happened. Because I didn't know where it's going to go. I kind of scanned the audience beforehand to see two people who are kind of close together. And this was just the best pairing I could find. I was hoping to get something more in the center, but this just worked. So yeah, I got these two to touch. I was so nervous going into it. And I even told Eyeless Arts this. I was so nervous that no one would give me their hand when I reached out for them, but luckily they both complied, and that was very nice. So I'm happy about that. I didn't talk to anyone about giving them their hand, but that was very nice. And yeah, so yeah. Anyway,
He lives on through us, born from darkness, born from lust. Because when we reach the end, we'll do it all over again.
yeah, so this thing right here where I'm like slowly rising like that was initially the motion I was gonna do for the next line that I actually preach, which, like I said, is "We are children of the machine, barely human in a city built on broken needs." And I was gonna repeat that twice while they were worshiping the book. But I did it here, and so the next motions I do to both of them are improvised right in that moment. So yeah, just so you know.
We are children of the machine, barely human in a city built on broken. Follow me. We are children of the machine.
Okay, so this is actually my favorite part of the whole performance. It's just because of people's reaction to it. I didn't actually expect to get that many people to react to it, let alone laugh. And yet, I want to say everyone gave some form of reaction to it. Like even the teacher, everyone, like you could hear like the laughter and whatnot. Everyone laughed at that. I always kind of wanted to do that. Like that was one of my first thoughts, is that I did, when I was rehearsing and whatnot, I did kind of want to grab someone and just do it. Initially, I was actually planning to do it to Noah, assuming he was in the middle. I thought he was going to sit in the middle, but he sat out there, so I ended up doing it to Riley. But yeah, no, so I kind of planned to do that, so when I had the chance, you can kind of see, wait, if I go back, you can kind of see the hesitance, and then like you can see the wheels turning in my head. Like I hold my hand like this, like I'm about to do the same thing I did for the other girl, and then I reach for her head. You can see the hesitance before actually realizing that I can do this and that I'm going to do this. But I also wanted you can't really see it because of the quality of the video, but I'm looking right in their eyes. I wanted to get that feel that Delore had, where it's kind of that death glare, but in a sort of welcoming way, sort of menacing way. Like, it's not as menacing, it's definitely not as aggressive, I'm not as demonic, but it's definitely there. So I'm staring them in the eyes the whole time. And also another thing that I just remembered, and I'll put up some pictures so you can kind of see in better detail. I was so in the zone, and you can see the reaction of these people. He's smiling, like it was great. But I was hearing the laughter. I was only staring at Riley, but I was hearing the laughter, and you can hear it in my voice kind of. But I was trying so hard not to break character, but even I ended up smiling. I was trying so hard not to laugh through my lines, because I loved it. She was so uncomfortable doing it, and it's not like a rape thing or anything like that. Don't take it like that. It's not like some form of harassment. This is just fun. It was a fun moment, and yeah. So even I broke character in this moment, which is a little unfortunate.
Barely human in a city built on broken dreams.
So that yell was kind of meant to happen, but also is a way for me to get back into character. Just, it was a mix of the two, you know?
In the dark nightmare, see your spotlight glare and accept your fate in time. In the dark nightmare, see your spotlight glare and accept your fate in time. Follow me. We are children of the machine.
So that wave back was also to make sure I knew where this was, because this was farther back than I had intended to be when I was initially going to do the performance.
Barely human in a city built on broken trees.
Okay, so that's basically the end of the performance and whatnot. A couple things I didn't get to use that I initially want to use. There was going to be a point where I was preaching and I did this as kind of like a reference to Delore, because that is something that's probably like the most I don't want to say memorable, but it's this thing that most people associate when I say Delore, like especially Eyeless Arts. We'll both just do that, because one of my most famous lines saying acting as Delore was, "This society is twisted," and I did that when I did it, which is also associated with being the good old dick twist, but that's different. And also, if you notice here, these are those are I forget the actual term off the top of my head. I'll probably remember after I'm done recording this, but these were in the way of walking behind this thing. My initial thing was I was going to come out, like, doing the hand symbol and whatnot, and then start preaching, but I had to start in the center, and then I also ended in the center, because my initial plan was to walk out. So this was also improvised, this walking back type thing. Because initially, I mean, I still mirrored the beginning of it, and that was kind of the point, but just in a different way. And yeah, so that was my performance. It was a very fun performance to do. Oh, I probably shouldn't. Oh boy. Yeah, it was a very fun performance to do. I had fun with it. It was a nice opening to get back in the swing of things, to get back in the zone, really just have fun. I actually have another performance coming up. It's not really a performance per se. It's a small little project to get us in the mindset of our people, of who we are. It's a way to get in touch with who we are over anything else. So I don't know if I'll record that one. That one's up in the air. I mean, you'll know by the time you see it, but I don't know. Suffice to say, this was a fun little thing to do. I was very happy that I got to do this, because initially, like, for my monologue, I wanted to expand on a certain character that I've played, that everyone knows, and a lot of people associate me with. It kind of propelled me to where I am, in a sense. And it kind of was also the eye-opener for people to start realizing, like, hey, this guy's pretty good. But yeah, I wanna bring that character back around. But I didn't even intend, when I was walking into drama, to bring back the cult. But it's just what happened, and so I brought back the cult in probably the best way possible. So it was like a nice little tie back, and finally you get to see me do something with the Cult of Grief, which I still have all of this stuff for. I have the finger painting and I don't really have the costume with me now, but I have the memories and whatnot, and I have the photos. But yeah, regardless, that was my breakdown of the Children of the Machine. I haven't settled on a name. I was thinking something like Priest Punishment, but it sounded weird. I was also thinking like Deacon Destruction. I don't know. I was thinking something that with the two letters, the starting letters sounding the same, but I couldn't get anything to click. Not in a way that didn't sound cheesy. I also debated giving him a normal name, but I didn't feel like doing that. I haven't given him a name yet, basically. And also, I know it's linked in. I know it's already said in the description of the video, but I want to give props to Funzilla06. He recorded this performance for me, so that was cool. That was very kind of him, very nice of him. And yeah. So anyway, that was that. That was actually 2 days ago. Wait, it was on Monday. Yeah, okay, so it was yesterday. Yeah, so I performed it yesterday. I uploaded it yesterday. Well, actually, no, I uploaded it today, just so I had time to process the higher definition quality. Today is the 7th of February, so that gives some context, assuming you're still here and you care about that. Nevertheless, yeah, so Whatever performances come soon, I think monologues are right around the corner, so maybe we'll get to see if I bring them back, the character I want to, because I'm having huge visions and aspirations for the monologue. Like, I'm talking Heath Ledger dedication. I don't know why. I am so excited, so pumped, so focused, so ready to see and do this. And I want to put my body 100% online. I'm going to do... Sorry, I'm having hiccups now. I'm gonna do great things with that monologue. Assuming I get the right script, I'm going batshit crazy. And it's gonna be great. I guarantee you. There's no way I will let it be anything than great. There's no way I'll put in anything less than 210% of me. Which is not even me over exaggerating. I'm genuinely that passionate about doing monologues. And I don't know where it's gonna come, but it's gonna come. Nevertheless, thank you everyone so much for watching. I'm as a Songologue. Subscribe for more of this one gaming vlogs about always comes. I'll see you all very, very soon. Once again, go check out, actually subscribe to DA Games and CG5, and also, the song from them is in the description below. Later, guys.